Good morning, students. I think we are almost in the last part of the trial scene. And had you not read, you must be so very curious, so very eager to know what awaits us, isn't it? So we know Poche is almost ready to charge Shylock with her last how wisely she speaks and defends Antonio. So we know how now Bassanio is being trapped for speaking that he is even willing to give up his life and his wife who is so dear to him even. And then Poche says, your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were she were hereby to hear you make the offer. So she says very plainly that your wife will also never be happy if she were to hear such kind of offer. Now to this what Graziano says, he also contributes much to it. And then Poche and Nerissa, both of them are in the court, and how their foolish responses creates a scene. Now Graziano, I have a wife whom I protest I love. I would she were in heaven, so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. Currish Jew means cruel Jew. Now what is he telling? He is telling, I have a wife. I swear that I love her, but I would she were in heaven, so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. So he is telling, I wish that she be in heaven so that she can pursue some heavenly power. Okay, she could entreat some power to change this vile Jew, this cruish Jew. To this, Nerissa is also on the stage, you should know, isn't it? Although disguised, she is there. So what does she say? To this, Nerissa responds, "'Tis well you offer it behind her back. The wish would make else an unquiet house." Unquiet house means there could be some disagreement in your house if your wife were to be present here. It's good that you speak behind her. So beautifully, both of them have got, isn't it? Poche and Nerissa have given back to their husbands, Bassanio and Graziano. Now to this. So this is a kind of a relaxation moment to the audience. It creates a kind of humor in the stage just before the climax, the tensed moments of the trial scene. Now, Shylock speaks amidst all these humorous things. Humor is actually only to the audience, because audience know who the persons Nerissa and Poche on the stage. But whereas those on the stage, the players do not know. So it creates among the audience a kind of laughter and merriment, but the tensed situation remains on the stage. To this, Shylock says, "These be the Christian husbands. I have a daughter. Would any of the stock of Barabbas had been her husband rather than a Christian? We trifle time, I pray thee, pursue sentence." So these be the Christian husband means, so this is what these Christian husbands have to say about their wives. He is trying to blame these Christian husbands. Who are these Christian husbands? Bassanio and Graziano. He is blaming even the Christians on the stage there. And then he says, I have a daughter. Would any of the stock of Barabbas had been her husband rather than a Christian? Who is this Barabbas now, children? Now, Barabbas is a notorious criminal. If you have ever read the crucifixion time of Jesus' life, where Pilate, the king of the Jews, asked the crowd gathered there in front of Pilate's courtyard, to them he asked, according to the Jewish custom, during their festival, there is a custom, one of the criminals be set free. So having in his mind, in Pilate's mind, to save Jesus from the perils of this crowd, he asked, whom do you wish to free. And then everyone in one voice says Barabbas, because they were all wanting to crucify Jesus. So he is telling, he is against Christ and Christianity. So he says, I wish I have a daughter who would be married to Barabbas than any Christian. That much of anger and animosity against Christianity. So he exhibits his aversion, his anger, his ancient grudge towards the Christianity, especially Antonio. To this, we trifle time. I pray thee, pursue sentence. Now he is telling you, do not waste time. I don't want to waste time. Trifle time means waste time. So he says, I pursue. I tell you, please go on with the sentence, the last judgment. To thus Poche speak, a pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine. The court awards it, and the law doth give it. According to the law, the rule of the Venice, you can take 1 pound of flesh. It is yours. That merchant's flesh, that pound of flesh from that merchant is yours. And the court here allows you, permits you, you can take 1 pound of flesh. So the final sentence, she pronounced, the final sentence, that 1 pound of flesh from the merchant Antonio is yours, and the court awards it. Shylock, most rightful judge. So he honored Poche for her sentence, and he says, you are the rightful judge. To this Poche responds, and you must cut this flesh from off his breast. You can cut it off from his breast. The law allows it, and the court awards it. So she repeats that you can cut a pound of flesh from the chest of Antonio, and the court permits it, it awards it, and the law permits it. Shylock, most learned judge, a sentence, come prepare. So he is so very happy and furnished with all kinds of pleasure of taking revenge upon Antonio, and he says, prepare for that moment, that he is telling Antonio to be ready, that I am ready with my knife to cut a pound of flesh from your chest. Now here the beautiful lines by Poche. Tari a little, there is something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. The words expressly are a pound of flesh. Here comes the right judgment. Tari a little means stop a little, wait a little. Although it allows, the law permits you for 1 pound of flesh, it does not permit you to take a drop of blood. But in the cutting it, if thou dost shed 1 drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the law of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice. Now what is he is telling? Okay, now she is so very to the point, telling you are permitted to cut a pound of flesh but not a drop of blood. The moment you shed 1 drop of blood of this Christian merchant, you are liable to confiscate your land and goods according to the law of Venice, unto the state of Venice. Everything will be given into the state of Venice. All your lands and goods will be confiscated in the name of the state of Venice. To this Graziano adds, now he understood the turn of the play, and then Graziano is so very happy. Oh, upright judge, mark, Jew, or learned judge. Now he has got, Graziano got a chance to speak upon and to persecute Shylock, who is in distress. When the turn of play, okay, the happy tide has changed. Now he understands the tide has changed, and he wanted to taunt Shylock, and throws back at him the same words of praise that Shylock had once placed upon Poche's wisdom, isn't it? Now he calls Poche a most honorable judge. Graziano tells Shylock to notice that Poche is the most wise judge. It's a kind of haunting the poor man once his the game has made a twist in its play. Shylock, is that the law? Thyself shall see the act. For as thou urgest justice, be assured, thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. Now Poche says, you wanted justice, and more than you desire, the court will give you the rightful judgment. And the law will always be with you, and the law will act according to justice. Now they are playing upon the words of Shylock himself. His words are being turned back against him, and both Poche and Graziano is playing back with his own words. Now again Graziano haunts him, telling, O learned judge, mark you, O learned judge. Shylock, I take this offer, then pay the bond thrice and let the Christian go. Now he doesn't want the bond exactly. He says, I take this bond. I don't want the bond to be go according to the justice. Pay the bond thrice. Now only you pay the money. You pay thrice the money and let the Christian go. Do you think will Poche leave him alone? No. None of them, neither Poche nor anyone is going to leave Shylock now. Now Shylock is completely trapped. He understood that he is being trapped by the law and the words of the judgment. So the loophole in the bond heightened by Poche is that the bond allows Shylock only the right to cut a pound of Antonio's flesh. It does not permit him to shed any blood while cutting off the flesh. And at the end of the scene, Shylock's emotion gets changed from that of a self-confident and rigid man to a shattered man who is forced to give up his property and renounce his even religion. Now the man is completely forsaken, and he is fallen, shattered, lost all his hope. At this time, the Duke rises. He raises his voice, that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. I pardon thee thy life. Oh no, sorry, I think I changed the page. It's after this. Shylock said, I take this offer, then pay the bond thrice and let the Christian go. To this Bassanio says, here is the money. Bassanio is very happy that he wanted to give the money and get back his friend Antonio. He is acting so very quickly. He says, take the money. To this Poche says, soft, the Jews shall have all justice. Soft, no haste. He shall have nothing but the penalty. Now what is she telling? Soft here meaning stop. The Jew shall have all justice. He said he wants justice, and the Jew will have only justice. Do not be hurry, no haste, not in a hurry. He shall have nothing but the penalty. Now she is so strongly willed. She says that no money at all, not in a haste. You stop. The Jew will have only the penalty. Graziano, O Jew, an upright judge, a learned judge, poor man. Shylock being haunted by Graziano with his own words, the maximum. And to this Poche says, therefore prepare thee to cut off the flesh. Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less, nor more. But just a pound of flesh, if thou cut more or less than a just pound, be it but so much as makes it light or heavy in the substance, or the division of the 20th part of one poor scruple. Nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair, thou diest, and all thy goods are confiscated. Now what is he telling? What? She is so very strongly built in her decision. She says, you can take just a pound of flesh. You can only cut one pound of flesh from him. Therefore prepare do not shed any blood. You can cut off the flesh. And be careful to cut neither more nor less than an exact pound. You can cut just 1 pound of flesh. It cannot be less, it cannot be more. If you cut more or less, what will happen? If only enough to make it light or heavy by the 20th part of a scruple. Nay, if she's telling, be it but so much as it makes it light or heavy in the substance or the division of the 20th part of one poor scruple, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair thou diest. If it is estimated that one side of the scale varies from the other by as much as a hair's breadth, thou diest, you will die, and all thy goods are confiscated. And all your possession will be confiscated to the state of Venice. Graziano. A second Daniel, a Daniel, Jew, now infidel, I have thee on the hip. Now again, the words of Shylock has been used by Graziano. He says, early when Poche entered into the court, he says, Shylock calls him a Daniel, a second Daniel. Now Graziano says, yes, here is the Daniel who has spoken his wisdom to save the merchant Antonio. Now here poor Shylock is being completely trapped. He is completely trapped. Poche says, why did the Jew pause, take thy forfeiture? She's telling, why do you delay now, Shylock? Take your pound of flesh. Why do you delay? Take your forfeiture. Take your bond. Now why do you delay? Shylock, give me my principal and let me go. Give me the capital amount. I don't want thrice, twice, or I don't want anything more but the capital amount, 3,000 ducats only, and let me go. I don't want anything more. Give me the principal. Give me that 3,000 pound only. Nothing more. Bassanio, I have it ready for thee. Here it is. Poor Bassanio, he wanted somehow to release Antonio and safeguard him, and so he says, here is the money, you take it. Do you think Poche will permit him? No. Now Poche says, he hath refused it in the open court. He shall have merely justice and his bond. Now Poche says, no, he cannot have it. He had in the open court renounced everything else, any other relaxation but the bond and justice, and he will have only justice. Again, Graziano says, he is still haunting that man. He says, a Daniel, still say I, a second Daniel. I thank thee, Jew, for teaching me that word. Now he is teasing Shylock, telling that you had taught me the name of this Daniel prophet. Now I use it time and time again, and thank you for teaching me. To this Shylock says, shall I not have barely my principal? He is still begging to the court, give me only that 3,000 ducats, the principal amount. Poche, thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture, to be so taken at thy peril, Jew. At thy peril means at thy risk. Take that bond. You can only have 1 pound of flesh that was signed in your bond. Shylock, why then the devil give him good of it? I'll stay no longer. Question. Now Shylock is completely broken. He is telling, then may the devil take him. Now he is telling, may the devil take him. Take whom? Antonio. I shall not stay here to discuss it any longer. I don't want to stay any longer in this court. I just want to move away. Let him take my money. I don't want anything. He is even pointing Antonio as the devil. Let that devil have it. Let that devil take it. Take that money. To this Poche says, Tari, Jew. Tari means wait, Jew. The law hath yet another hold on you. It is enacted in the laws of Venice. If it be proved against an alien, that by direct or indirect attempts he seek the life of any citizen, the party is against the which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods. So, law of Venice, she is speaking about the law of Venice. If any foreigner plots against one of the citizen of Venice, here Antonio, if somebody goes against whom he plotted, may seize one half of the foreigner's property. One half of the property of the foreigner should be given to that citizen who is being directly or indirectly proved against the citizen of Venice. Now he has done a wrong to Antonio, and it is proved, and so according to the law of Venice, the foreigner has to pay half of the property. Now according to the law of Venice, Shylock has to give half of the property of his to Antonio. Now he seek the life of any. Okay, the other half comes to the privy coffer of the state, and the offender's life lies in the mercy of the Duke only against all other voice. In which predicament I say thou standest, for it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly or directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant. Who is the defendant here? Antonio. And thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. Down therefore and beg mercy of the Duke. Now she is so very strong. She says first half will go to the citizen whom you have played a trick or cheated, and the other half shall be paid into the private treasury of the state. Private treasury, the offenders, he says privy coffer of the state means the private treasury of the state. The second half of the property will go to the private treasury of the state, and the offender may only retain his own life by the exercise of mercy by the Duke, and he has to plead. The offender here, the Shylock, has to plead mercy from whom? From Duke. No other person being allowed to intervene. Here, nobody can intervene. Nobody can plead mercy for you, Shyloh. Now, the Duke has to decide whether he will have mercy on you. I say thou standest, for it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly and directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant. And she says, I say that this charge is now applicable to you. All these law of Venice is applicable to you. For it appears with manifest clearness that you have conspired against the very life of Antonio the defendant. Not only directly but also indirectly that you have conspired against the life of Antonio. Thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. You have become liable to the penalty which I have already mentioned. Down therefore and beg mercy of the Duke. Now you must beg mercy to the Duke. Graziano, beg that thou may have leave to hang thyself, and yet thy wealth being forfeit to the state, thou hast not left the value of a court. Therefore, thou must be hanged at the state's charge. Now, how much more this Graziano says? Now, you don't have any property. First half is given to property is given to Antonio, and the next half of your property is given to the state. And where will you have money even to buy the robe? You don't have the means even to buy a robe. You cannot take the expense, and now you are under the mercy of the Duke. You don't have anything. So Graziano is simply giving him trouble after trouble. Okay, that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. Now Duke is speaking some truth. Okay, how he speaks, that thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. I pardon thee, thy life before thou ask it. Before you ask of mercy for your life, I give it. This is the difference between you and me. You were not ready to relent. You were not ready to give a little bit of mercy to Antonio. But that is your spirit. But I am. The Duke says, I am different in my spirit, in my nature. Before you ask for mercy, I grant it to you. For half thy wealth it is Antonio's, the other half comes to the general state, which humbleness may drive into a fine. Now he says, I give you pardon for your life, but the half of the money will be given to Antonio, and half Antonio the Christian. And then he says, and the other half belongs to the public treasury, but you may be let off with a fine instead if you humbly beg for mercy. So he says, the nature and that of a Christian is to be forgiving and merciful. My nature is that of a Christian who forgives. And so I would tell you, you can give a fine instead, but beg for mercy. I am ready to give you mercy. If you pay the fine, you can be relieved, but half portion of your wealth will go to Antonio. Now Poche says, A for the state, not for Antonio. So Poche says, yes, as far as it concerns the state's half, but not Antonio's. So she says, okay, if you don't want it to the public treasury, the half the property, it's fine, let him go with the fine. But then the half, the property of Shylock must go to Antonio, to the Shyloh. Nay, take my life and all, pardon not that. You take my house, when you do take the prop that doth sustain my house, you take my life, when you do take the means whereby I live. Now Shylock is so frustrated at this stage, and all his hopes of taking revenge on Antonio have failed. He begs to be allowed to go home since he is not well, and we all feel pity for Shylock as he makes a sad exit, isn't it? He has lost everything. He has lost everything. He says that I don't want anything. Take my life. It's better that you take my life. You may you don't leave me. You just take my life also. Do not restore me. You take my house. When you pull away the pillars which support my house, you take my own life away. When you take away the livelihood, what mercy can you render him, Antonio? Now at this time, Poche asked Antonio, what kind of mercy shall we give to Shylock? Now Graziana jumps into the stage and sees us. A halter gratis, nothing else, for God's sake. Give him a rope free of charge. Okay? Without taking any penny of money, give him a rope so that he can freely go and hang himself. Nothing more. It is for God's sake, nothing more should be given him. But now we come to know how merciful Antonio is towards the Jew. How much more? Few more lines are there. Should we continue with children? Okay, we will try to wind it very soon. Okay, so please, my lord the Duke and all the court, to quit the fine for one half of his goods. I am content, so he will let me have the other half in use to render it upon his death unto the gentleman that lately stole his daughter. 2 things provided more, that for this favor he presently become a Christian. Now Antonio says, my lord Duke, and to this court remit the fine of one half of his goods. I will be pleased. I am content. But then he placed one condition, that he will let me have the other half in trust, so that I may give it on Shylock's death to the gentleman who so lately married his wife. So he is telling he doesn't want anything but half the property after the death of Shylock should go to Lorenzo and Jessica, the Christian with whom his daughter has eloped and got married. And again he makes two other conditions. What are they? That he presently become a Christian, the other that he do record a gift here in the court of all he dies possessed unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter. What is the two conditions? The two conditions laid by Antonio is that in return for this favor he must at once embrace the Christian religion, and secondly that he draw up his will here in the court itself, leaving all the possession at his death to his son-in-law Lorenzo and his daughter. So Antonio makes two conditions. Antonio is not greedy, so he doesn't want any property of Shylock. So he says, I don't want, but let it be gone to Lorenzo and his daughter Jessica. To this Duke says, he shall do this, or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. Recant means I withdraw. If he doesn't do these conditions, I withdraw the pardon that I have already pronounced. To this Poche says, art thou contented, Jew? What dost thou say? Are you happy? Are you contented with this decision? Shylock? Yes, Shylock says, I am content. Poche. Clerk, draw a deed of gift. So she says, Poche says, draw a deed of gift. Who is the clerk here? Nerissa had to write the clerk has to make a legal document for the transfer of property. Now to the Shylock says, I pray you give me leave to go from hence. I am not well. Send the deed after me and I will sign it. Now poor man, he is so frustrated, isn't it? So he says, please leave me. I beg you to allow me go home, since he is not well. So here we feel pity for Shylock as he makes a sad exit with the crowd ridiculing him. Now to this Duke says, get thee gone, but do it. Okay, you go and you will sign the deed at home. Graziano. In christening shall thou have 2 godfathers. Had I been judge, thou should have had 10 more, to bring thee to the gallows, not to the font. Again, thus Graziano, he makes a number of wits in the play, isn't it? How much Graziano is making so very funny remarks. He is haunting this poor man. How he is telling? He's telling, when you get Christian means when you become a Christian, you will have 2 godfathers. In christening shall thou have 2 godfathers. Had I been judge, if I were the judge, what will he do? You shall have, okay. Had I been judge, you should have had 2 jury, had a jury of 12 to send you to be hanged on the gallows. If I were the judge, I would have sent you to the gallows instead of being baptized into the sacred. To this Duke says, sir, I entreat you home with me to dinner. To whom he is telling? Now, Duke is telling to Poche, sir, I invite you to come and dine with me. To this Poche says, you know who Poche, she may be wanting very fast to be united with Bassanio, isn't it? It is then Duke is inviting her for the dinner. I humbly do desire your grace of pardon. I must away this night toward Padua, and it is meet I presently set forth. She said, I humbly request your grace to excuse me from this invitation. I must leave to Padua tonight. It's very important that I go soon. To this Duke says, I am sorry that your leisure serves you not. Antonio, gratify this gentleman, for in thy mind you are much bound to him. Now to this Duke says, I am sorry that you have to take, without a rest you need to return back to Padua. Have no leisure. And then he is directing towards Antonio and says, thank this gentleman deeply, for I think that you are under a great obligation to him. And so Antonio is indebted much to this doctor who has saved his life to Portia. And then Bassanio speaks. Okay, everyone else goes, isn't it? The Duke goes, and his officials go, and everyone else go. And then there we have Bassanio, Antonia, and Portia. And here the beautiful conversation take place. It's wait, students, we will complete it and then stop the class. Okay. Most worthy gentleman, I and my friend have by your wisdom been this day acquitted of grievous penalties, in lieu whereof 3,000 ducats due unto the Jew we freely cope your courteous pains withal. Now, here, what is that? Bassanio is full of gratitude towards Poche, and he says, most worthy gentleman, sir, I and my friend, myself and Antonio, have thanks to your skill. It has freed us from heavy legal penalties today. And what shall we pay? As a fee for this, we offer in payment for your courteous services the 3,000 ducats which we owe to the Jew. We wanted to pay you at least these 3,000 which we were to pay to the Jew. We wanted to pay you as a payment for your courteous service. And Antonio says, and stand indebted over and above in love and service to you evermore. More than all days, over and above this, we shall always consider ourselves in debt to you. For love and service that you rendered, we always remain indebted to you. Poche, he is well paid that is well satisfied, and I delivering you am satisfied, and therein do account myself well paid. My mind was never yet more mercenary. I pray you know me. When we meet again, I wish you well, and so I take my leave. Now, what she says? She says that one who is well pleased with one's work is sufficiently rewarded. I am so satisfied with the judgment I have made, the service I have rendered. I am so pleased and contented. Is well pleased with one's work is sufficiently rewarded. She says she is well pleased that she has saved them from the clutches of the Jew Shylock. And she considers this act as a sufficient reward that she could succeed in this game played. That itself is a reward to her. And then Bassanio insists, dear sir, of force I must attempt you further. Take some remembrance of us as a tribute, not as a fee. Grant me two things, I pray you, not to deny me and to pardon me. So now Bassanio says, I ask you only two things, not to deny it. We wanted to give you something as a remembrance for the good service that you have rendered to us, and not to deny. Please pardon me. So these are the two conditions Bassanio makes. Bassanio is unwilling to part. Bassanio says to Poche that two conditions. Once, that he has to take something as a remembrance, and then he should pardon him. Poche, you press me far, and therefore I will yield. Since you compel me, you press me means you push me hard, you compel me, I will yield. I am ready to take. And to Antonio she says, give me your gloves, I will wear them for your sake. So she says, you give me your gloves and I will wear them. So she asked Antonio, so she asked when Bassanio says two things, forgive me for making this one. Then Poche says, since you are pressing me, I shall give away. She is asking to Antonio, give me your gloves, I shall wear them in remembrance of you. And turning to Bassanio, what she says, and for your love, I will take this ring from you. Do not draw back your hand, I will take no more. And you in love shall not deny me this. Now she is playing a trick here, isn't it? And as a memory, as a remembrance, what is she telling? As a memory of or the memento of our friendship, I shall take this ring which you are wearing, And now do not draw your hand away, for I ask no more. I only want this friend. Kindly a friend to think of refusing it. I want nothing but the ring on your finger. Now, Bassanio is caught very badly. Now, you remember the ring scene, isn't it? How Poche gives the ring to him and says, the moment you part with it, that they are no more husbands and wife. It is a mark of their love, isn't it? Now, Bassanio is caught up. He says, there's more depends on this than on the value. The dearest ring in Venice I will give you, and find it out by proclamation. Only for this I pray you pardon me. So poor Bassanio says, pardon me only for this ring. I can get you, I would be ashamed to offer you such a trifling thing. I can get a best thing. It's a very simple thing. So he wanted to change the scene. So he says, it's a very small thing. So I'll get you a precious ring from the Venice, not this ring on my finger. To this Poche says, I see, sir, you are liberal in offers. Now she says, I shall take you. I see, sir, you are liberal in offers means generous only in making offers. You are only speaking some your generosity. You are generous only in offering. Or you are only making offers but not fulfilling them. And now methinks you teach me how a beggar should be answered. Now you are teaching me how a beggar should be answered. To this Bassanio says, good sir, this ring was given me by my wife, and when she put it on, she made me vow that I should never sell or give nor lose it. So Bassanio confessed the importance of the ring. So he says, this ring was given to me by my wife, and I have made when it is placed it on my finger, my wife made me swear that I would never sell it or give it away or lose it. And then to this Poche says, that excuse serves many men to save their gifts. And if your wife be not a mad woman, and know how well I have deserved the ring, she would not hold out enemy forever for giving it to me. Well, peace be with you. Now Poche saying this, she and Teresa gets out. What does she say? She says, this is a kind of excuses men give. Such an excuse makes it impossible for many to avoid giving away. And she is testing Bassanio by telling, if your wife is not a mad woman, and if she knew that how well you have earned this ring, she would not be angry for long with you for giving it to me. Well, it's okay. I wish you a peaceful goodbye. So saying this, provoking Bassanio, Poche leaves the stage. Now what happens? Antonio, my lord Bassanio, let him have the ring. Let his deservings and my love withal be valued against your wife's commandment. Now Antonio speaks for Poche. She says, Bassanio, let him have the ring, and you can make your wife understand. Let his great service and your love for me combine to influence you more than your wife's command. It should combine the service that rendered by this man for my life and yours. You should give away the ring to the doctor. Then Bassanio. Here Bassanio says, go Graziano, run and overtake him, give him the ring and bring him. If you can't, unto Antonio's house away, make haste. Come you and I will thither presently, and in the morning early will we both fly toward Belmont. Come, Antonio. Now when Antonio tells Bassanio to give the ring, he gives up. So he gives the ring to Graziano and says, run and overtake him, give him the ring, and try to persuade him to come with you to Antonio's house. And then he is telling to Antonio, come, we will go to your house presently, and early tomorrow morning He wanted to get back to Belmont. Okay, and here the scene ends. Good luck, children. I think you enjoyed this scene. Even I did. So, all the best. It is a very long class. However, I hope you will enjoy it. God bless you. Bye.